If you think you've seen the end of the tyranny or even the beginning, you ain't seen nothing yet. And you haven't seen what free humanity is going to do in response to tyranny. It isn't until the tyranny gets really naked that people start to fight back. And now it's getting to that point. The globalists have been experts at plenty of entertainment, plenty of dumbing down, ridiculing people that are awake and aware. But now it's not working anymore. So because they know that we're awake to them and Congress has a 9% approval rating, Obama has an approval rating lower than Nixon or Jimmy Carter. That's in the news today. Because they know that we're awake now, they just don't care. They're like, all right, we'll just arrest you and hold you forever. All right, we'll torture you. All right, we're going to go ahead and start taking your bank accounts and keeping them. I mean, I feel like somebody who's at the edge of a cliff right now. You ever jumped off 200, 300, 400-foot cliff into a lake? I've done it quite a few times back when I was younger and dumber. Now to jump off a high dive is kind of scary, but it's that same feeling. I mean, we're right there. And I'm sitting here. I read the globalist documents. I've been right about what I warned about. But it takes a while for this stuff to develop. And now we're here. And when we knew 4 years ago that the Pentagon refused to attack Iran, people said, oh, you're wrong. They weren't going to attack. See, and later it came out we were right. Well, they're getting ready again. And it's the ramifications of all of this and where it goes and Europe collapsing and all of this. It's so incredible. Believe me, I know why people bend over backwards and live in denial. But I remember Henry Paulson, clearly in insider trading. Congress admits they involve in insider trading, totally illegal. It's more than insider trading. They give government contracts and pass legislation for money to companies their own family members are executives of. And they say, well, when we do it, it's okay. We've given ourselves an exemption. And remember Henry Paulson, when he was being questioned by Congressman Stern from Florida, it's an Obama deception. He said, who gave you the waiver to give yourself $200-something million of bailout money to yourself? And he goes, well, I have a trustee. I had a waiver. Well, who gave you that waiver? The Department of Treasury. Well, who's over the Department of Treasury? Well, he started stuttering. He said, I am. He could barely talk. He said, I am. I mean, the head of the CFTC on record is invested with Corzine and MF Global, and it turns out all these insiders got warnings, and of course nothing's going to happen to MF Global. I mean, that's the thing. They've reached a level of public crime that is just staggering. It's like ESPN with the wife of the coach saying, yeah, I watched him rape little boys. They had it for 10 years and covered it up. I mean, what have we turned into? We're just accustomed to giving into evil. We're accustomed to accepting it. And then we're accustomed to all the new fines and fees and regulations of being treated like absolute garbage. We've got to start acting like sovereigns. We've got to start acting like the bosses. It's we the people. This is our government, our country. And because we had some liberty, it created incredible wealth, and now all the crooks of the world ran in here, slowly took over, getting little pieces here, little pieces there, always making money, getting power out of it. And then now they've just gotten into total control. And they're like, we'll torture you, we'll secret arrest you, we'll kill you if we want. They've already been doing all of that, but now they want to be able to go into their people and say, here, you're allowed to do this. Now, a warning to their people, when the White House ordered people to torture, including children, when they got caught, they went ahead and sent the people that followed the orders to prison. And then Bush came out in his memoir last year and said, I ordered torture, I'd do it again. Keeping you safe. I mean, they know. They're selling the idea that if you give tyrants total control, they'll protect you. Really? Government is like an employee that literally has got you licking their boots. I mean, that's what's happened. Okay. Coming up after some calls, foreclosure fraud whistleblower found dead, MSNBC. Another one, Hank Paulson, gave hedge funds inside information on Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae when he was Treasury Secretary. And it goes on to say, well, I'll cover that in a moment after some calls, but I briefly wanted to bring Ted Anderson up. Ted, can you feel the urgency? And people know I've never really gotten talk like this on air. I mean, I can feel it palpably right now, palpably, the urgency. Ted, what do you think about all this that's happening in the world right now?
I mean, everything's melting apart, Alex. I mean, right now, just yesterday, the Fed, along with, well, here it is, right here, the Federal Reserve, Bank of Japan, the European Central Bank, the Swiss National Bank, the Bank of Canada, the Bank of England have all joined together to do this bailout thing that's going to be going on in Europe. Just the day before, the president is out there saying that the United States dollars are not going to be committed to fixing this problem, and here we have the problem being bailed out. This is like what happened in TARP, but it's on steroids. I mean, right now, back when TARP was being doled out, it was said to be $700 billion, but it turned out to be $7.77 trillion by the Fed underneath and under disguise without any disclosure. These banks that were taking the money were in trouble, yet they were reporting that they're in great shape to their shareholders. So, what they're trying to do is they're trying to stop a run on the banks, and this does. It totally sells our country and our sovereignty out. We are losing our liberty, and we are turning it over. We are taking money directly out of the accounts of people's savings and so on and so forth through inflation and driving the value of the dollar down. And you're talking about World War III here. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So why would anybody want to stay in a paper currency when they know the Fed is out there pumping new money into the system so they can lower interest rates and make it easier for these banks in Europe to trade? It's just absolutely a bailout, like we had in Wall Street here not too long ago. They're helping their buddies, but at the cost of the U.S. taxpayer, and it's devastating. And it's not only devastating here; it's devastating across the entire world. Mikhail Prokhorov, a billionaire over in the Soviet Union, was saying that it's safer to buy gold bars than it is to buy U.S. treasuries. I mean, it's gotten down to that. People always went to U.S. treasuries for safety, always, in investments. If you're ever concerned about the economy, the United States Treasury was the place to go. Now we're sitting here, and the billionaires across the world are saying, nope, we're going to gold. Gold bars and gold coins make a lot more sense than any other investment entirely in the world. So, yeah, is it time to take advantage of it? Is it time to move? Absolutely. You can see it. The handwriting's on the wall. By the way,
Ted, I want to invite you on the Nightly News tonight. We've got Stuart Rhodes joining us, but I want to get you on, too, just to go over the history of inflation and to give some examples, but also you can dig up the articles and show people how big these bailouts are. But, yeah, Obama yesterday was giving speeches saying there'll be no Federal Reserve U.S. dollars given to this, and here's Bloomberg today, it was already happening. I mean, it's just they take advantage of people's ignorance. And people say, well, so what do they bail them out? It devalues the dollar, and they're devaluing all the currencies. They have accelerated it, and most economists I talk to, they say within 6 months you're going to really see it. And you talk to Salente, and he's saying, look, they're going to start grabbing more bank accounts, more stuff, MF Global. I mean, Ted, the MF Global thing is what's shaking me up. Because I went back and studied some of the cases, and I had remembered what had happened, but I wanted to make sure I was right. And I went back and looked at it. They've never had a Chicago Mercantile big looting with a company bankruptcy with subsidiaries that took sequestered private accounts, segregated accounts. They've never had anything like this. Even when whole companies go under, they've paid people back. Now they're just saying we're not doing it. Maybe a few people or something, but it's just so creepy to know that Corzine, the main advisor, is making 40-to-1 bets. That's proof these are madmen. It's so crazy. Bob Chapman thinks it may be some setup where he made the bad bet and they got the money on the other side betting against, but we've looked at it and can't find those numbers. I mean, these are lunatics, Ted, and they've got a bought Senate with a bunch of political whores, most of them who have been, caught sleeping with the pages, so they're all blackmailed, who are up there saying, yeah, we're going to arrest whoever we want and torture you. I mean, it's just to be totally confirmed that we've been absolutely right and then some, Ted. It's disgusting. I feel like throwing up. I'm not happy that I'm right. I mean, Ted, I can't enjoy anything now. You know, I can't even go to movies now, Ted. I can't do anything. I can't do anything now. All I think about is this, Ted, and I can't even get people I know to realize how real this is.
Well, they're going to be realizing how real it is when they're standing there in a bread line. I mean, right now we're covering the bad bets of the New York, banks and the big banks in Europe for lending all this money to these countries that shouldn't have had it in the first place. And guess who's getting bailed out? It's them. They're getting the money from us. They're taking it directly from us through inflation. They're printing money.
But if that isn't enough, they then grandstand and lecture us when 90+% of the debt is theirs.
And that's exactly right, Alex. And they had a vote at the Fed. I mean, that's why Ron Paul wanted to have transparency of the Fed with their audits. We wouldn't even known about this.
Ted, what about these Republican mainline idiots that want Mitt Romney and Gingrich? I mean, they're as pathetic as Obama supporters. These are idiots.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. The people of the United States are asleep. They have no idea what's happening to them. And if they were smart, you would see Ron Paul showing up a lot higher than 10, 12%. He'd be getting 25, 30, 40% of the on these polls. Now maybe they're loaded, and maybe they're not completely true. We'll see what happens in Iowa. But I can tell you right now, if the people had half the information or half the knowledge that it took to understand what was going on, and it's not even that, it doesn't even take a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out.
Ted, this is all red level. I mean, everything keeps happening according to the globalist plan. It keeps getting, and then this is what it is. We know we're about to enter the phase where all this horrible stuff's going to look like good times. I mean, we're about to really get into the bad area. It's like you go into the doctor and they say, your heart is completely clogged up. You could have a heart attack anytime. You're like, oh, I'm fine. And a month later, you're walking up the stairs and the heart attack starts, you know. I mean, it's there, and it's sad. All right, I'm going to stop ranting. I want to go to phone calls. Ted, give people the gold specials of the day. Again, you buy it when it's low. When it's high, as it is, gold and silver, you sell it at the old low price. The radio specials are incredible loss leaders. Briefly, give people the gold and silver specials. I hope they take advantage of it, because I know you're a busy man to get a hold of, Ted, but I need to get a hold of you because it's time for me to get some gold and silver. I've got to do it. I can't even leave emergency money in the account to run this place. It can't even be trusted now. Ted?
Well, first of all, gold did run up to $17.52.10. Right now it's currently at $30.30. So the market knows that the dollar is going to take a hit. It's reflecting that. Silver at $33.05 today, up 92 cents. The things to be getting into right now are like the Walking Liberty half at $16.01, the Frank coin at $3.81, and get the full-year subscription to Bob's newsletter, The International Forecaster. And for God's sakes, understand economics. Get that book and that video, and those $2 silver for $73.
Yeah, Ted, it's $3 silver, the book and the video, and you're almost out of the Big Brother book, and then we're going to ship to some other special. So if folks want the $3 silver and the free book, video, and shipping, they need to call right now, 800-686-2237. You, again, can get the Frank at cost and then get a free subscription, $159 value, the International Forecaster as well, 800-686-2237. Tell folks about some of the other coin specials you've got, Ted.
Well, I mean, obviously, one of the better coins to be getting into is the U.S. Eagle. It's at $1,908.29. I have a few of those proof campaign for liberties still. Want to help Ron Paul a little bit, $523.73. Makes an awful lot of sense. For those of you who don't have a whole lot of money, consider the copper coins I have up on the website now at $293. For a bag of 250. The Lakota silver's at 41.27. I think the bags of survival dimes at 2,495. That's 1,000 dimes. You realize it takes 24 dimes to buy one of the old. That's the equation right now. If you want to transfer one to the other, that's going to widen. It's just simply this. Gold and silver is a reflection of what really is happening in the economy. And as the Fed steps in and turns on their printing press to do all this bailout, you're going to see gold and silver rise. And it's just the way it is.
Absolutely. Ted, 800-686-2237. And we've got Stuart Rhodes on tonight about the indefinite detention, torture, and the rest of it on the Nightly News. But I want to get you on, so I'll talk to you after the show, okay?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, thank you. There goes Ted Anderson, InfoWars Nightly News, 7 o'clock Central tonight.